So again, first is touch your own emotional life. And without thinking, Buddha Dharma or anything, just think, oh, I love this person. And then I'm attending today for them. And if you have some emotion, then you'll feel this shift in your body, a different sort of feeling. And that you could say is the start of bodhicitta, the start of doing something for more than yourself. You're still benefited because you have a good feeling, but it's got a different focus. And then just feel that I'm connected with all sentient beings. Is in the first of the 5 steps of bodhicitta, coming from Manjushri, Nagarjuna, or Manjushri through Nagarjuna. The first one is the great equanimity of us all. And what it is, we all want happiness and none of us like suffering. And that's an incredible thing, because what it comes down to is we all want happiness, but some of us aren't as skillful. So we kill, we steal, we lie, thinking, oh, I can have success and happiness by doing these things. And so when you understand we all want to be happy, just some of us aren't so skillful. When someone's being rude or aggressive or violent, just you understand, well, it's looking for happiness in all the wrong ways. I have a student in Mexico. She's from a very large, very wealthy family. And they're, for whatever reason, they're quite critical of her. And she's quite vulnerable to that, to being criticized and such. And so I had to teach her a mantra. And the mantra was, they're looking for happiness in all the wrong ways. Because, some of the things she feels about, they're contrary to sort of the family politics, but they're actually good things. So just the family criticizes her because they feel the family culture is more important than something that's actually really beneficial. So it's a good mantra, looking for happiness in all the wrong ways. And it's so interesting when someone's angry at you, like if someone's right in front of you and they're saying, you're horrible or whatever, we just immediately get defensive, and then even maybe we retaliate because we feel that. But if you suddenly just look at, if you just, like their wave of anger hits you, and then you go, whoa, looking for happiness in all the wrong ways. And you can actually have compassion for them. I mean, an empathetic love and compassion. It's not judgmental, I'm patient with you. It's like, whoa, you're looking for happiness in all the wrong ways. Your anger isn't going to solve the problem. It'll drive me away. It'll drive other people away. It'll give you, you're unhappy. So there's so much to understand in that, with that very first step of the 5 steps of bodhicitta. We all looking for happiness, and we don't want to avoid suffering, even the smallest amount of suffering. That's called the great equanimity. Then the disadvantages of being egocentric. And when you're egocentric, it's difficult to be happy. And then the great advantages, now it might be traditionally called cherishing others, but you could say just appreciating others. Wow, my life, wow, thank you, mom and dad. Even if mom and dad didn't do a good job, thank you, give me a body, and thank you to my teachers, appreciation and things. So the disadvantages, number 2, the disadvantages of being egocentric is just, it's all about me. So let's say you go to a store and you get a really nice shirt, it's at a good sale price, and you go to somebody and say, oh, look, I got this really good shirt, really handsome, and it's only, 20% off. But an egocentric person say, oh, great, I got it for 50% off. They're not happy with you that you got 20% off. They prove that they're better or something, Anyway, so I mean, being egocentric is just, it's all about you and your perspective and things. So, and there's disadvantages, with that. So it's just sort of seeing that, like, wow, a lack of appreciation of others. Always you have a story that's better than the other person's story. You're doing better. You have more money. You had a better holiday than they had. or something like that. Like if someone's telling you about their holiday, why not listen to them and say, "Oh, that's great. Wow." Then you're rejoicing in them. Anyway, so this first one, great equanimity of all sentient beings. We all want happiness, none of us want suffering. Second one, the disadvantages of being egocentric, which is looking for happiness, but not in the best way. And being egocentric doesn't mean you're not taking care of yourself. It means is that you're not so much like, I'm the most important thing, And then that goes to the third one, appreciation. Wow, I exist for my body, and thank you for the planet Earth, and thank you for the air, and thank you for the food, and thank you for the farmers, and thank you for the truckers, and thank you for the stores, and thank you for the education, and thank you for internet, that we have Dharma. So it's this appreciation, and from appreciation, quite naturally, arises the wish to repay that. Okay, and so great equanimity, disadvantages of self-cherishing, cherishing others, then wishing to help others, like being a benefit, and then actually having altruism. So the 5 steps, it's more, let's say, common sense, you could say. The other technique comes from Maitreya Buddha through a Sangha, and that's the all sentient beings to be my mother. And that technique's actually very good. Why? Because first you have to touch the love of your mother for you. And what you actually then touch is love. And then you move into the other meditations. And it's important to do that. It's not like just you look at somebody, oh, you're being my mother, If you don't have this deeper sense of your own mother. And there's a whole series of very good meditations. Like, when you were conceived, immediately your mother started to think about you. And, this is, let's say 90% of the mothers, maybe there's 1 or 2 mothers, which are complicated people. But generally speaking, she started to only think about you, and she'd hold her stomach and say, "You, that's you." She's thinking of you. In fact, there is nobody in this universe that has thought more about you than your mother. Even your best lover doesn't think about you as much as your mother thought about you. It's really quite special. Anyway, so that, and then you should go through, like 9 months, and all the discomfort of being pregnant and things, it doesn't matter. She's always thinking of you. And maybe she stopped drinking alcohol or stopped smoking cigarettes and things, because of you, and then finally, birth, it can be an incredibly difficult experience for a woman. So, she's screaming and yelling and hitting her husband, saying it's all your fault, and that in the moment. And then finally, when you come out, that all of that disappears and says, "How's my baby?" That was you. Totally, she's focused on you. And no matter how ugly and slimy you look, you're the most beautiful thing in the world for her, Okay, and so then that, and then you spend 2 years peeing and pooing on her, and she just, no problem cleaning it and just wiping you and loving you and then coochie, and all these things, and things, no matter how many times you peeped and pooped and then vomited on her shoulder and things like that, just always full of love, generally, And even if you wake up at 2 a.m, she's the one that gets up normally and, hugs you and kisses you and things, sweets for you. Really, you could say that she had 1 mind and 2 bodies, her body and your body. And so she continually sort of involved with you. So really, no one has thought about you as much as your mother did. Anyway, then, as you grow up, and then, like the first time you sort of start to walk, she's so happy, and she's holding your little baby fingers and she's helping you walk, and just she's beaming happy. And of course, then if you finally say, "Mama," it just goes into bliss, as your mother. Then you should go through all the things maybe she did. What happens when you do this, you start to have this very, very nice warm feeling in your chest. And that feeling is what's most important in the progressive meditations, because if you don't get that, it's not easy to sort of look at Andrew here and I say, "Oh, you've been my mother in previous life." It's like, "Oh, okay, massive males, whatever." Whereas if I really can touch my mother's love, for me, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, excuse me, Lama Zopa Rinpoche led us through this meditation. And so to meditating on it. And then I suddenly remembered, every morning my black shoes, and they were in Canada, they were called Savage shoes. They were black, you know, a thing like that. Every morning they were cleaned and polished and sitting there. And my mother did that for me every night. And I went like, God, I won't do that for anybody. you know, and my mother did that every night for me, and made a little sandwich for me and this and that, So it's like, it's things that suddenly you go like, wow, I mean, I was the focus of that woman's life, unless she had another baby, of course. But the point is so then you have this really like warm feeling. And then, there comes the hard part. And even the Dalai Lama says it's hard. Then you shift it over to somebody else and say, oh, they've been my mother too. And you say, well, I don't know, okay, well, but what the benefit is, you've touched love, and then you're trying to expand it. And so as His Holiness says, it's a little bit harder, but it can happen. But what you've been able to do is you've been able to touch a very, very precious type of love, the love of your mother for you. And with that, then you can start to actually cultivate it and create it, the whole sense of being your mother and things like that. May I repay their kindness because they've been so kind to me, et cetera, which is the 7 points of bodhicitta coming from Maitreya and Sangha. Okay. Anyway, so it's just, however you want to do it. Personally, I like the one of, we're all of the great equanimity, the disadvantages of being egocentric, the advantages of being, appreciative of others. May I repay that? And then you can get Tonglen comes in there, the giving and taking. Just a quick comment about this, that in regards to Tonglen, I'm sure some of you are quite familiar with, you visualize a black stone in your heart, which is your egocentric mind. And then you think of all the suffering of sentient beings and you hail it, and it comes in and it hits the black stone of your egocentric mind and cracks it open. And then you say, oh, may everybody have happiness. I'm not saying it's not good, but I think that if you touch your own suffering, like you say, oh, wow, I've had the flu, or maybe I had COVID or something. You touch that, you say, well, and this thing is, you touch, say, whoa, that hurt, like having a toothache, or, having a broken leg, or, having the flu or whatever, like, oh, that was like headache. Well, that was painful. And so you have that, you touch that, and then you say, okay, other people have had it. And if you have some sort of, your mind goes out and says, whoa, and it's like, I understand you, I cognize, and then you inhale. You don't need to do this visualization in your heart like a black stone. You touch your own suffering, appreciate just how much it hurts, whether it's a physical or emotional, and then you shift it over to saying, whoa, other people have this. Maybe not immediately someone I know, but other people have had it. And you go, wow, I understand you. Inhale. And then quite easily, you just exhale, may you have happiness. It's completely natural meditation. So that's just, again, something with Tonglen, which is part of the whole of exchanging self for others, meditations, being a bodhisattva. And then, if you think, I often think about the Buddhas, like, how is it that the Buddha, who has this omniscient mind, actually cares for us? And there's a big debate on that, because Buddhas are spontaneous, non-conceptual in their love and compassion for us. So how is that? Well, it has to just be that they have gone through sufferings in a constructive way. Every time they had a problem, they said, whoa, that hurts, and let me solve it. But they also had that equanimity. Everybody wants to be happy. Nobody likes to suffer. And so part of their mind is to appreciate it, like, okay, I'm jealous and possessive. Whoa, look how miserable I am, and I make that other person miserable, Okay, so like, wow, that's just a lot of pain, And then you go look at somebody else who has, and you go, wow, I understand you. Okay. And so like, as much as you deal effectively in a constructive way with your own jealousy and possessiveness, then you try to help the other person, not just sort of like, don't be jealous. The person would never listen to you. You be more skillful. Okay. Anyway, so the Buddhists did that. in millions of rebirths. And so what they have is this wealth of having known their own suffering, and then empathy for you or for us to help us to solve it. And it's spontaneous. It's like I remember if you ever, like I've seen it where like there's maybe you're in a restaurant and there's hot water and suddenly it gets spilled on a baby, and maybe there's a big shock, but somebody very quickly runs over and pulls the clothes off the baby because the clothes are going to be full of the hot water burning the skin of the baby. Like intuitive, they just bang, they're right there to take the clothes off the baby, things like that. Or other examples of that, like spontaneous, we know what to do to fix the situation. So that's what the Buddhas have, but they have it because they know the suffering and they want to release the suffering. So it's a good way to sort of really start thinking about Buddhism. I mean, why do they react to me when I'm feeling miserable, or my mind's in this little vortex of sort of self-indulgence, Well, the Buddhists know that because they've been there. And they say, okay, well, do some breathing meditation and you relax a little vortex of being so self-consumed. When you calm down a little bit, then maybe the Buddhists can talk to you a bit more or something, Anyway, so these are all really important thoughts. It's not like just we're religious, Buddhas will fix it and this and that. Like, make it profound on your own side. Okay, so in the space before me stands Guru Chakrasamvara and Vajra Yogini in union, surrounded by a host of root and lineage gurus, yidams, Buddhas, bodhisattvas, dhakas, and dharma protectors. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus. From this moment until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus. From this moment until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. I, in the infinite space of all beings, take refuge in the glorious gurus. From this moment until we reach enlightenment, we take refuge in the perfect Buddhas. We take refuge in the Dharma. We take refuge in the Sangha. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering, and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering, and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. Upon attaining the supreme realization of a Buddha, I shall free all beings from the endless round of suffering, and shall deliver them to the bliss of enlightenment. For that may I practice the stages of Vajra Yogini's path. I bow down and take refuge in the gurus and the three precious jewels. Please bless my mind stream. So pause and then feel they absorb into you. And just like if you were to, boot a computer and then it comes back the original screen. So you go to the void, and then instantly I arise as a venerable Vajra Yogini, and that includes all the environment too. So remember, we're doing in these classes, we're doing a review of the Sadhana, sort of in a brief meditative manner. So we got as far as to do then the blessing of the heroes and the heroes and the yoginis. And I did mention that, if you look at the development of a fetus, of a human fetus, at the 6th week comes the heartbeat. And then slowly from that, then comes all of the, you could say the DNA, the genetics that turns into then the body with 10 fingers and 10 toes and, ears and things, all that. And that sort of, you could say, comes from that little beating heart with that little itty bitty thing like this big, a little heart, then all of that comes. So, in the vision of Tantra, it's seen that those are the veins or the nerve channels that then created those things. But we could say it's the genetics, it's the DNA. So that's what the body mandala in some sense is, because the Heruka body mandala is at the end of those nerve channels. So the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the forehead, the teeth, all these different points on your body. There's 24 points that's identified. Okay, so that's the external. But with the Vajrayogini, you go all the way back to the root, the heart. as Geshe Rapton said, that Vajrayogini is so special because you don't have to worry about the branches. You just go to the root. And that's where then you have the, you focus in that. And I explained in the last one is that like you have the big Vajrayogini, then with sort of like you have this in your heart, this reality source, and then inside the central channel, you have the moon cushion with the Bam and the 32 syllables, you know, and then that turns into the 32 dakinis on the outside rim. And then the central part becomes the 4 parts of Bam, which are the, you know, the 4 sides break into the 4 dakinis. And then the center is the queen. And then, of course, that's really teeny. And then you go to the, in her heart, like really teeny. And there's another dual reality source within the 32 syllables and the syllable Bam. It's all in a nice color red and things like that. Okay. So the, you know, I'll go through the commentary in the evening time, but let's just say, so the four branches of the 4 sides of the Bam syllable go ya, ra, la, va, and they sit it in the 4 directions, and they become the 4 elements like earth, water, fire, air. And in the center is the queen, and she's considered to be the indestructible dot with the red and the white, you know, the original cause of your body, the red and white element from the mother and the father. That's what she represents. Okay. Then around the 32 dakinis, they break into 4 groups of 8, so 24. And so you have the mind, the speech, the body, and the doorways. Okay, so again, that'll be all taught about in the commentary in the evening time. And you feel that these are non-dual with the 24 sacred places of the world, okay, or, you know, of India. But you should think that rather than that all the holy places of the particular country you live in, which might be identified by indigenous people or, you know, your ancient ancestors, that those places are the 24 places, you know, in your own country. So just you feel connected to all the sacred sites and all the sacred entities that are in those areas. Okay, that's the 32. Okay, then there's the 8 doors. Okay, then you invoke Heruka Chakra. Okay, so you know, remember from your left hip, you do this mudra. That is the baby finger, ring finger, and middle finger are sticking out. Your index finger is hook, and your thumb, and it comes up, goes 1, 2, 3, 4, pim, and goes to your thing. So it's like pull it out of your holster, go bang, and you put it back in the holster on the other side. Okay, so that's a way to look at it. And loud enough that you scare birds off trees is one way it's been said. And then you can do the hooking mudra. And, you know, when you're a yogi, like, you know, you feel, well, come back to the idea, I'm immersed in the atmosphere and I'm completely penetrated by it. So it's not like me and things separate. It's no, we're all, you know, it's all together. It's all interdependent. And then with your energy, you hook all the local dakinis, gurus, everybody, you hook their attention. Okay, and you say, well, it says, from my heart, the home light rays go forth and draw from my mid-brow and spread in all directions of idol Buddha's gurus, thing the form of Vajrayogini, and then you is above me, sinking down, merging, one. Ja, hum, bam, ho. And then you do a little dance. Om yoga shudo sarva dharma yoga shudo hum. Okay, I am the reality of the yoga of the perfection of all things. It's nice. I don't know, there's sort of a music in that, some nice sensation. Okay, then that's the 2 mantras you do. And remember that, like, okay, the example I always like is if you had a stick of incense and it's smoking. Now, it is immersed in the ocean of atmosphere. So it's not like that there's incense and atmosphere. It's like they're together, but the smoke comes up and it goes whatever direction the room, the ventilation in the room moves it. So like that, in one way, you just become the stick of incense. May I be of benefit, you know? So in this vast universal ocean of interdependence, may I be the stick of incense of enlightened benefit. Okay, and so whatever direction the smoke blows, okay, it goes. I mean, you still use discriminating awareness. I mean, if some situation is really intense, for example, in Yugoslavia, I mean, going there, you get yourself killed possibly. So maybe that's not so good, but maybe you can do some, some publicity or something about, world peace like that. So of course, always use your intelligence, but you can still be that burning stick of incense. And if you have no doubts that you're the burning stick of incense, that's incredibly powerful. Just you be that. And then as the incense spreads to the atmosphere, that depends on skillful means, like how skillful you are. If you're not skillful, then okay, just have the good intention. As you get more skillful, maybe you can influence people, maybe in your family a little bit, or maybe at work, and then maybe with all sentient beings. So that's the skill of your nice smelling incense. Okay, then you have the vital things. So at the navel, read Om Bam Vajra Varahi. We posted a little image in multiple ways online, so you can look at that. And so Trichan Rinpoche, when I received teachings from him personally, he says just under the skin, but on top of the muscle, a moon cushion within those syllables. And the Om represents the Heruka, Bam represents Vajrayogini, Hum represents, the particular Buddha, Yomani is the Yam. Hrim, it represents, again, a particular Buddha, male Buddha, and Mam is Mohani. Again, now it's most likely the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. I don't have that commentary in front of me right now. But so actually you have the union of male and female as a syllable on the moon cushions in the various parts of your body. Okay, and when it says pei, it's on the 2 shoulders and on your 2 hips. I've also heard commentary that's on the 2 shoulders and on the elbows and on the 2 hips and on the 2 knees, but it depends, we'll see what the commentary says tonight. So that's that, and that's your armor against negative energy getting inside of you. Then in my heart sitter, Bam radiates light, invites all the consecration beings, the glorious Heruka Chakras and Vajra. So principally, you remember the story of Tilopa and Naropa. Tilopa had been doing service to, Naropa had been doing service to Tilopa for several years. One day he went in his little mud hut and there's the whole mandala of Heruka Chakras and Vajra. On one side, radiating light, and there's that skinny vagabond, the street person, Tilopa sitting here, and Tilopa says, who are you going to make prostrations to? And Naropa thought, I always do prostrations to my guru. Must be I should do it to the mandala. So I did 3 prostrations to the mandala, and then poof, the mandala disappears. And Tilopa says, that was created by me. You should make a prostration to me. I'm the source of that. And then he said that due to that, you have some small obscuration that you knew that was going to be a problem for your future. But anyway, so when you invoke Heruka Chakras and Vajra, always invoke, it's my guru. It's the Dalai Lama, it's Trichan Rinpoche, it's all the gurus I have. They're in front of me. And then of course they, send away, they scare away any negativities, they sing Vajra songs. And again, just like the initiation, they put a parasol above you, they put victory banners to your left and right side as you as Vajrayogini, they scatter flower petals, they sing Vajra songs as they dance around you, and then they pour the nectar, and it's just like Om Sarva Tathagata Abheshankata Samyashriyehum, and your whole body thrills with that as it goes through. It fills you up, and then you're crowned by Heruka Vairochana and consort. So that, again, we're just reviewing the Sadhana. Yeah? Then you make offerings to yourself. So remember, I said that, if you want to make a big imprint on your mind, do more than just sort of a small action. So, when doing the mudra, okay, so you have the idea, I'm Vajrayogini and I'm going to make Vajrayogini me, I'm suitable to receive offerings, You have that idea, you say the mantra with your mouth, you do the mudras with your hand, but also feel the bliss. Okay, so, in initiation, I always try to say water for your mouth, water for your feet, flowers, incense, light, perfume, food, music. Okay, that's quick. So if you're not in a group doing a sort of a long practice, which then needs to be a little bit quicker, then you go, Om Aragam Braticha Hum Soha. And you can feel like all these little Dakadakinis come flying out, and then they put, water for your mouth, and just, so it's magical. So your whole mouth and everything feels so blissful, and then I'm Vajrayogini, and then they all go back in your heart. and Om Padyam Pratecha Hong Soha. And your feet are blissful. Again, to you, Vajragini, making a huge imprint on your mind. So it's good. It's reaffirming. It's sort of creating more, you could say, mental or little circuitries in your brain. But it's actually helping you have better identification. Vajra Bushpe, Vajra Dube, Vajra Deepe, Vajra Gende, Vajra Nimandi, Vajra Shapta. And then the mirror, music, perfume, food, cloth, reality, or consciousness. That's the 6 ones. Again, it'll be some commentary. And then the inner offering, Om 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 Sarva Buddha Dakini Vajra. So Om Ahum, and that's the bliss. Remember, it's the Heruka and Vajragini. It's their organs touch, and there's like this incredible spark of bliss, and then you offer that spark of bliss. Okay, sometimes people get so obsessive about sex. It's the bliss of, let's say, say yourself, when you see somebody that you love, just that you haven't seen them for a while, and you see them, and there's this poof, like, wow, when you love them, that. Well, in this case, how much more so when you can be private, personal, and intimate, and then there's that sort of the potential of the union of the two of you. That bliss, that's what you're offering. It's not like you're offering anyway. It's always the bliss, the sparks, the bliss. Okay, so home, feel like that. Anyway, then you do have the union of you with Vajragini, and again, that's unification. But again, realize that it's not just sort of me, and then you to some person, some lady. No, it's me, Heruka, or me, Vajragini, and with the union with a fully enlightened being. We look for fulfillment, don't we? Massively. I want fulfillment. I want to fall in love with somebody that's a perfect match for me. It brings to mind the I don't know, this is way off topic, but okay, Star Trek: The Next Generation. Okay, and Captain Picard is escorting some being inside of an eggshell or something to another planet, and this is a totally empathetic woman, and she's massively beautiful. Anyway, well, then what is it? The little guys, I forget the little creatures, they break her out of her little eggshell, which she's sort of being encompassed in, because she was not supposed to meet anybody until she met the emperor of this other kingdom. I can't remember, it doesn't matter. Okay, anyway, so she comes out early. And of course, then the ambassadors are all freaking out and stuff. And so Picard says, I will protect her from everything, and she's could say she's enlightened, empathetic, so whoever she's with, she merges and then starts mirroring who that person is, And so she's with number one, and he's real macho, and then she's with the Klingon, and she goes like this, anyway, like that. But then finally, Picard gets her and puts her in a room, and he spends some time with her, talking with her. And of course, then she empathizes with him, and she's the perfect match for Picard. Like, it's your ultimate lover. Anyway, so, and then the whole thing is like, he says, well, I wanted to protect you, so when you meet the king, or the emperor of this other planet, you're going to be all perfect. She says, okay. And then finally, in the last scenes, she says, well, I'm sorry, I've already bonded. He said, what? She says, yeah, with you. I completely know you to the cells of your body. And I'm completely, we are perfect. Like, I am the perfect match for you, like that. And then she says, but you see, I know that you have what honor is a very important thing. So although I'm completely unified with you, I will honor what's going to happen with this other guy, and I can play the game because I'm an empathetic. And so Picard has to say bye-bye to the perfect match to his psyche. Anyway, tell a funny story. And I'm sorry, my translator is mostly trying really hard to catch up to me. Okay, but I think these are sort of reasonably interesting thoughts, that, okay, whether you're Heruka or you're Vajragini, really doesn't matter, but you have an enlightened being you're in union with, full cognition of your consciousness, and in her consciousness or his consciousness is, the spontaneous work for the benefit of sentient beings. I mean, you have just upgraded your personal sexuality to an incredible level. Rather than just looking for self-gratification, it has to be meaningful fulfillment. Again, I mean, these are things, they just talk about the bliss and the void and, you're in union, but I think it's important to think about it in terms of like, what would that mean to me? It means I've evolved. I'm not just anyway, there's just commentary there, but the point is it just that. So when you do that unification, you are unifying with we'd say perfect fulfillment, the meaning of life. And that person perfectly mirrors that, the one that you're in union with. And then there's the tantric aspect of it, which is what you're doing is you're opening up your central channel by that bliss, and then you're able to pull all your energies inside your central channel, et cetera. That comes in the completion stage practices. But the point is that thing. But then the mantra, Om Shri Mahasukha Vajra, hey, hey, ru, come, ah, hum, pe. Okay, so there's the mantra. And you feel the great bliss, and then you have the 4 descending and the 4 ascending blisses, or like I described in the morning, you can have 4 for each section, so a total of 16 blisses. Okay, so 4, 4, 4, 4, and then you actually 4, 4, 4 back. That's 32 actually, but the point is it's that. And that way, what you do is you wake up your nervous system. Instead of just sitting there saying, I'm meditating, I'm dead meat. No, you have this incredible bliss go from your crown to your throat. And it wakes all that body and nervous system up, and then from your throat to your heart. And again, it's not just self-gratification. It's, may everybody have happiness, the cause of happiness, and then down, and then that. Anyway. Then you do the 8 praises. Om Namo Bhagavate Vajravarihi, Bam Hum Hum Pe. And you ring the bell 2 times when you do Hum Hum Pe. That. If you go to BraveView, www.braveview.org, in there's a lot of things from Paula. Lama Paula, and she's an incredible teacher for Vajra Yogini, and she sings these, and I think that's really good because it's a woman. I can do it, but I'm a guy. But if you have a divine woman, so what you can do is go to that site, braveview.org, I believe, and then you go to the chanting, and then down there they'll find the 8 verses to the Queen, or to the Vajra Varahi, or Vajra Yogini, okay, and then you take that and stick it in your cell phone. And then in the morning, when you wake up to an alarm, you can wake up to Om, is it going to be Om Namo Bhagavate Vajravarahi Bam Hum Hum Pe Om Namo Aparache Trilokaya Vijay. I can't say it very well in Sanskrit, forgive me, but okay. But then you have that, and you wake up to that. Oh yes, I'm in the Dakini realm. Okay. Anyway, so that's those, and we'll talk about those in the long Sadhana. Then you do the mantra, and so again, sending out light rays and such. I have talked a little bit about this in the thing, but when you do the mantra, you can start off with just the mantra. Okay, well, first identification. That's the first. I am Vajrayogini. Then a little bit of clear appearance, and then mix that with the mantra, so that the mantra, identification, and clear appearance sort of mix, become sort of unified. And then, blessing all sentient beings, receiving blessings from the Buddhas. And if you're doing a longer session, then maybe you can meditate on the graduated path to enlightenment if you get tired from trying to hold the visualizations. Okay, and that would be, hey, I won the lottery ticket of a good rebirth. Wow, I'm so lucky. I know what's important and not important. I'm inspired by these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the tantric gurus and things. I'm being careful with my karma. I know how to deal with my delusions. We all want happiness. May I help others, attain a more enlightened happiness, a skillful means to be happy, the 6 perfections. So like that, you can go through that. Okay, then mental recitations. Again, you focus on the central channel. You can start with visualizations, but then if you can, try to find the feelings that go with that in your body, because it might not be exactly where you've been visualizing. But that's again for you to discover for yourself. Okay. And then you have so you do all of that. And as I said in the commentary, in the previous commentary, it says, okay, at the end of that, you go, the white and the red meet into your heart chakra, they spin, and then they just evaporate. Everything evaporates, and you're 30,000 feet up in the space of the sky. You rest in that. Okay, so there's no form, just bliss. And then boom, you're back. And then you do yoga 10. So you have to come back. You have to create your body again. And that's yoga 10. And then you do the dissolutions from the formless form and desire realms, and you back into the void. Again, you can do a short 8 visions at the time of death, or you just do sort of a quickie version of that as you wish. And then you're into yoga 11, yoga of actions, where you're making offerings. Okay, so let me see what we got here. So you actually put on your armor, and then Samba ni Samba home pay Griana Griana home pay. Now, there's I'm sort of curious if you've ever read Hindu tantras or Hindu deities. This is just a story, so relax, okay? So a long time ago, there were 2 asuras. So they're like demigods that like to control the world. They're a bit ambitious, okay? And their name was Sumba and Nisumba, okay? So I don't know if this really applies to this mantra, but they were very powerful, asuras, they dominated the world, for quite a while. Anyway, and then there was a goddess named Chamundi, and she was a goddess like on they say, so those 2 guys were on the dark side and she was on the light side. Okay. Anyway, so, so these 2 brothers that dominated the world. Now, Sumba was the brother, and Nisumba, as far as I know, was sort of his older brother, but he was like the king, or, the ruler of the mundane world. And so one day, Sumba was going around, and, they conquered everything, and he saw Chamundi. And he thought, oh, a really nice looking lady, I want her for my brother, and so he tried to capture her. And I don't remember, I guess she killed him, whatever, because, she's Chamundi. She's the Chamundi, strictly speaking, is the consort of Yama, the Lord of Death. That's Chamundi. But in this case, she wasn't identified that way so much, She's just identified as being Chamundi, a goddess. Anyway, so the brother got taken out. And so then the older brother, who was sort of the ruler of samsara, he found out about it, and he got really angry, And I believe it said that, he'd gotten he'd gotten a blessing from Brahma that he could control the world and he could never be killed by a man. Okay, so it sort of sets up the dynamic. Okay, so anyway, Nisumba goes looking for the girl that killed his brother. Anyway, and so they start fighting, and they're battling back and forth and stuff like that. And then Nisumba is able to turn himself into a buffalo, and he's trying to run her over as a buffalo and stuff like that. And so she would like defeat him. He would reappear as a thing and then reappear as the buffalo. So he could flip back and forth. Anyway, but Chamundi, she's got her magical weapons. She's got a trident, and she can manifest a lion. Okay, so at one point, anyway, they're battling back and forth and things like that. And then finally, her lion jumps on top of the buffalo and is biting the buffalo. And so then Nisumba says, okay, I got to get out of this form. So he tries to come out, and as he's coming out, she's got the trident. She skewers him, and that frees the world of all negativity. The dark force disappears, and then Chamundi is the goddess who defeats Sumba and Nisumba. Now, I don't know if this is any relevance to this mantra, but it is a story I read in the Hindu mythology. So I sort of thought, well, why would you say Sumba and Nisumba, and click in one direction? And so I sort of thought, well, if they were really powerful and scary, like if you sort of went to, the mafia, the Sicilian mafia or something like that, these are scary things. You don't want to mess with them. So maybe that's why you go Sumba Nisumba, because it's like very terrifying names, like you don't mess with Sumba and Nisumba. You don't mess with the mafia. Okay. Mm-hmm. I have no idea if that applies, but there's just a story for you, and I'm entertaining you because it's the afternoon of the second to last day, so it's good to tell you some stories. And then Grihana Paya Anaya Ho Bhagawan Vajra Home Pay. Those are the 4 cardinal and the 4 intermediate directions. I talked about it before a little bit. And so you do that. Now you're Vajragini, you're all protected, you have your armor on, you put the the four major and four cardinal intermediate directions have been sent wrathful deities, and also above and below. So now you're Vajra Yogini and you're all protected, everything's good. And then you bless the outer offerings, the inner offerings, you invoke Vajra Yogini and you make offerings to her, and that's where like Pem, you visualize all the ordinary. Vajra Yogini comes from Agnishta, the highest pure realm, all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and the Gurus, all the Daka Dakinis, and all local spirits. And then you do Om Vajra Arli Ho, Jahom Mom Ho, Vajra Dakini, Samyatam Shri Saya Ho. Okay, now just a side note, if you are with your friends who all do Vajra Yogini practice, why not do that? So, when you're supposed to offer food before you eat, so you can take refuge. I go for refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha from now until enlightenment. I work for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all beings be happy. So you do that prayer just once. And then you do Om Ahum Ha Ho Hri. Om, that's blessed. You do it 3 times. That blesses it. Then you invoke Vajra Yogini because you're going to offer food. So you Pim. And then you feel that she's in front of you. And then Om Vajra Arli Ho Jahom Mom Ho Vajra Dakini Samyatam Shri Saya Ho. You offer to her and you feel really happy. And she strokes your face and says, yes, I love you so much. And then you can eat your food with great bliss. That's fun. And even if you, with somebody that doesn't quite, doesn't have the Vajra Yogini Tantra, you can still teach them that, because you're not teaching them how to do the Tantra, but maybe you're setting up some karmic connection for them to be connected to Vajra Yogini, and they can learn the mantra Vajra Arali Ho Jahom Mo Vajra Dakini Samyatam Shri Saya Ho. And then again, this will be in the long commentary. Then the local offering to all the spirits. Om Kaka Kahi Kahi is Om eat, please eat, please eat. Sarve Yaksha Raksha Bhuta Beta Vijita Anatta Vajra, like that. That is to the Rakshas, their type of spirit. Yakshas, their type of spirit. Bhutas is ghosts. Preta is the hungry ghosts, etc. And I'll discuss all that. So that's what we wanted to cover. That's, again, we've done 50 minutes, which is what I like to do for this. So just take a comfortable posture. And I mean, if nothing else, just be really happy that you have the Vajra Yogini Tantra. Why not? It's an unbelievable Tantra. You don't have to do all the extensive nerve channels. You just go to your heart chakra, visualize the Dakinis in your central channel, all the little, the eugenic DNA channels that creates the parts of your body. That's the 32 Dakinis. They're all looking towards the center. Then the 4 element Dakinis are all looking outward towards those 32. And the Vajra Queen in the very center, of course, she's looking forward too, towards the east. And your east is always in front of your chest, isn't it? And then inside of the central queen is an extremely tiny double stack reality source with the moon cushion and the mantras and such like that. So just try to sort of hold that a little bit. That's your body mandala. And then just be really happy because you have the Vajra Yogini Tantra. And to think of it, whether you're a man or woman, doesn't matter. You have 37 divine women in your heart, all singing the mantra. You're just full of bliss. And bringing your awareness to your breathing. Close our session this afternoon with a positive thought and feeling. By my effort for 6 days of participation, all the sessions I've done, all the teachings I've received, whatever I've understood, I dedicate it to a more enlightened life. And I offer that completely for the benefit of all. And may all of our teachers, all our special teachers, live very long lives, very healthy and such, and teach the Dharma. And may there be peace in the world. Thank you very much.